The most important meal of the day, second breakfast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another Second Breakfast podcast. I'm Andy Roth alongside Phil Duvall. Say hi, Phil.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Andy. Hi, world. Hi, nation. Hi, second breakfasters. Hi.
Wow.
You always make...
I always what?
It's my fault. Never mind. I was going to blame you for me, but that's not fair.
I appreciate that.
I was getting ready to blame you for me, and it turns out the only one I can blame for me is me and maybe my parents a little bit.
Sure.
You know,
that's.
I have a therapist, so I'm all set.
Nice. Well, folks, it's Friday, and aren't you TGI Friday? Aren't you glad? Thank God it's Friday. You know, I mean, let's be honest. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Andy, knock knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Orange who?
Aren't you glad it's Friday?
I am.
Oh!
I would like to.
Listen, have you seen this commercial with the camel walking around because it's hump day?
I have not.
It's the greatest commercial of all time. I am a fan of commercials when with the knowledge that they're terrible and awful for humanity. Every once in a while, there's a commercial, like 2 or 3 a year. 2 or 3 commercials a year that just floor me. And look for the Geico commercial with the camel, and it will change the way you live your life. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay.
All right. So it is Friday. That means movies are coming out.
It's true. Here's what's coming out this week, the weekend ahead.
Oh, wow.
So there are two releases. Coming out this weekend. One is there are many, but 2 in wide release. First is the new Hugh Jackman, Viola Davis. Everyone in the world with a SAG card is in this movie. Prisoners, about the 2 little girls who get abducted. It looks unbelievably depressing and bleak, and I'm probably going to see it because it's getting phenomenal reviews.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
The other one, and Phil, I didn't run this by you first, but I'm not going to say the name of this other movie because it is a ridiculous sports movie that stars the rapper Chris Brown, and I don't want him to get any money based on anything that I do.
Oh, wow.
Because
first of all,
the worst.
First of all, I don't even know what movie you're talking about.
Okay, good.
And secondly, I completely and utterly applaud your decision to ignore whatever that is.
Yeah. So there you go. It makes me sad because there are at least a couple other people in the movie that I like or don't hate.
Well, they shouldn't have been in a movie with that guy.
Yeah, right?
Really? Seriously?
Hey. Zero disagreeing here. Zero disagreeing. So, those are the 2, or shall we say 1.5. And there are a ton of limited releases. First, the new Ron Howard movie, Rush. That's going to get a wide release shortly, but it is in limited release. The Sam Rockwell movie we were talking about earlier this week, A Single Shot, which looks great. Blue Caprice, which I feel like I've heard of.
I feel like you heard of Blue Jasmine, and then there was another movie called Blue, and you were like, okay.
That's totally fair. No, I'll go with that. Yes. Plus One, which the poster describes as Can't Hardly Wait combined with Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That is so weird.
Sure.
I might have to see it.
Sure.
And the last one that's in limited release, Thanks for Sharing, which is the movie about sex addiction, starring Mark Ruffalo and Gwyneth Paltrow. And
why is that only in limited release?
I'm guessing because it's a small movie. It will probably get a wide release soon, much like Rush. Certainly not to the extent that a Ron Howard sports movie will, but it will get a wider release in the next couple of weeks.
Fair enough.
I'm very excited because a movie I talked about weeks ago is coming out in Durham. That is In a World.
In a World.
Exactly. It's Lake Bell about the voiceover, and it's apparently great. And she wrote and directed and stars in it. So yeah, that's my story, and that's what's.
She's really slouching, isn't she?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So, that's the story of the weekend ahead. And Phil, what do we got on tap for our main topic today?
I got to tell you before I tell you that, I don't mind when people do every single thing in a movie. I really don't. But I don't think it's necessary to flash the name over and over and over again. I remember when, watch the credits for Zoolander, mainly just because you should watch everything that happens in Zoolander.
Sure.
And it's like, written by Ben Stiller, directed by Ben Stiller, produced by Ben Stiller. And I'm like, you could have just put written, directed, produced by. Like, you didn't actually need to put your name up there that many times, Ben Stiller. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, like saturation. Mm-hmm. Like, if we say it enough times, you'll remember his name forever. And it's like, he's on the screen. I've got this. Trust me, I know. I get it now. He's Ben Stiller. Got it.
Right.
So one time, I'm also a huge fan of Clint Eastwood, who I don't know if you knew this, does not ever put a Clint Eastwood film at the beginning of his movies.
Yes.
Because he knows that a film doesn't belong to one person. Just one more way. Clint Eastwood, I'll talk about him for hours as a director. Did you know that he doesn't say action or cut?
What does he say? Does he say anything?
He'll be sitting there talking to them, and apparently his sets are very, very quiet. No one talks on his sets. Like, he works with the same people all the time, and so they all just do their job, and they're all very no drama, no nonsense. And he'll just walk over to the actors and kind of talk to them at normal voice, and then just be like, go back to the scene and be like, okay, whenever you guys are ready. And then just let it go and just start rolling, and then they start going ever. And then when the scene's done, he just kind of waits, and he's like, all right, okay, let's go.
Huh.
And yeah, he says when he says action, the idea of it creates this sense of like, now I'm on, and he just tries to let them bleed into the scene. I love everything about that guy.
Yes. Do you think it's maybe just because people are still so terrified of his persona that like that's also why he works with the same people, because they're too terrified to turn their backs on him so they can't leave?
It might be. It's one of those things like there's a great concert I have on CD of Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson playing together, and they're talking about Willie Nelson's like, man, we got some hot chocolate and some tea and some coffee up here. What's going to happen to our image? And Johnny Cash goes, I think if we just keep wearing black, we should be all right. It's like, so I think Clint will be all right. He just has to keep growling at people, like just kind of, even if he says something really nice, he's got that look on his face like he just ate a lemon. So he's like, you're the best person I ever met. And you're like, oh, I'm scared of you. So today we have it's not a gauntlet.
No.
It's almost like a rapid fire round from a game show.
Yes.
Our friend of the podcast, my old high school pal, Alec O'Meara, with whom I acted in a play my senior year, the first play I did at that school, and he's a good man, Andy. He's a good man, Andy. He's a friend of the podcast, a fan of the podcast, which just proves his mettle. And he has created something like a gauntlet, but it's really just, I don't even know how to describe it. It is of a piece by itself.
Okay.
And I think that we should just jump into it, and people will see what we're talking about.
I agree. And unless you know what, would you like to take the questions here?
I don't even have them printed up. I'd have to get them ready. So you have them ready, I believe, don't you?
I do.
Listen, there's only a certain level of preparation I'm willing to achieve.
Okay.
I just tried to get them off my phone, and my phone dropped, and everything fell apart. So
okay. All right. Here we go.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Just one more thing. Where were you on the night of June 27th? Just one more. All right, go for it.
If the Giants beat the Padres last night, how is it possible you didn't kill your wife?
Okay. So,
the question that I'm haunted by on a regular basis.
Nice. So, from Alec O'Meara. Unclear to me whether I have to write a long, elaborate story with big words to go with my questions or not, but here goes. All right, Alec, fine.
It's a great point. The Gauntlet people, like, the first Gauntlet was so simple. And then Keith Porcaro did this crazy Gauntlet with all these weird chapters. And now people feel like they have to write a novel. And really, guys, the star of the show is our answers, not your questions. So don't get so excited with yourself.
I know, right? Let's be honest.
Alec gets that. Alec knows the drill. All right. By the way, Alec O'Meara, think he's Irish? What do you think?
Russian? Maybe?
Mm-hmm. Alec O'Miroslav. All right, let's hit this. Hit it and quit it.
Okay. So, also, but here goes. Also had way too much fun creating my own arbitrary rules for what qualifies as what. Sure, you'll see what he means in a moment. Feel free to figure out some of the tough calls I had to make. All movies are listed in chronological order, I think, to avoid tipping my hand as to favorites. The best sequel of all time is A. The Godfather Part 2, B. Dawn of the Dead, C. The Empire Strikes Back, D. The Two Towers, E. The Dark Knight. First off, as someone who is teaching a class on both the LSAT and the SAT, I appreciate that he's giving us A through E. That makes me happy.
Right. Although he doesn't give us the option of F, none of the above, or G, all of the above. So, but that's okay. That's okay.
But, I mean, neither does the LSAT or SAT.
Oh,
so
I thought they did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sorry.
You should be.
Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first on this one?
Go for it.
Okay, so here's the deal. First of all, that is an amazing lineup.
Yeah, it is really, yes.
That is a murderer's row.
It's true.
And in many cases, literally, a row of murderers.
No,
it is, literally. I'm looking. Dawn of the Dead, Godfather Part 2, murderers.
No, I'm with you.
I know.
You. I'm just not giving you the pun. I'm not giving
I
you the
accept. The pun has been taken, regardless of whether you give it to me.
The worst.
Okay.
You're just the worst.
The answer is... Okay, well, let me break it down. First thing off the list for me is Dawn of the Dead. I love Dawn of the Dead. It's great. I know it's your favorite zombie movie.
Mm-hmm.
As far as quality, when I look at these other ones, first one off the list.
Yep.
Second one off the list, and this was hard, Andy.
Tell me what was hard.
Well, I'm not going to do this. I was going to say The Two Towers is the next off the list, but I don't know that it is. The other four,
Sure.
I think you could go any way you want, but I think there's only one answer, and it is The Godfather Part 2. I think The Godfather Part 2 is the greatest sequel of all time. It is the only one of these movies. No, that's not true. I was going to say it was the only one of these movies that might be considered better than the first, except I don't think that's true, because I think Empire could be considered better than the first, and I think that Dark Knight could definitely be considered better than. Actually, Dark Knight is better than the first.
Right? Yes. Agreed.
So that's tricky, but I'm gonna have to go with Godfather Part 2 because it's maybe one or two or three greatest movies of all time. So it has that going for it.
Sure, which is nice. So here's the deal.
Yes.
I see what you're saying, but my answer is...
You get too old for this.
I know, right? I see what you're saying, Phil, but my answer is The Godfather Part 2, because of course you're right.
Okay.
Of course.
Whoa, I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
I am getting too old for this grit.
I've had it with these what is it, melon farming snakes on monkey fighting snakes on this
monkey fighting snakes on this monkey fighting Monday to Friday
plane. Yes,
amazing.
Indeed. Yeah, I mean, look, it's just great. It's just like I mean, it's everything you want. It's everything you want out of a movie, let alone everything you want out of a sequel. And that's I think that's kind of all I got, you know?
I think Two Towers is incredibly underrated in terms of sequels. I think Empire Strikes Back is incredibly ready for it, overrated in terms of sequels.
I agree with you.
The whole like Empire Strikes Back is just unquestionably the greatest thing of the entire time. It's like actually the first Star Wars movie is amazing. And by the way, has an actual ending.
It's true.
I'm just saying.
I am in agreement with you.
All right. Okay. Next.
Okay. The best. Yes.
I was just going to say, I can actually ask him now. I have it up on my phone.
Well, you know what? That ship has sailed, tough guy.
I take my penance. Go ahead.
The best threequel of all time is A.
Interesting.
Goldfinger. B. The Return of the Jedi. C. The Godfather Part 3. D. The Return of the King. E. The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay, well, again, the answer is clearly not Godfather Part 3. And it's not The Dark Knight Rises, and I don't care about James Bond. So really, It's between The Return of the Jedi and The Return of the King, and I love that both are called Returns.
Indeed.
Now, the sentimental favorite for me would be Return of the Jedi because it was the first movie I ever saw in the movie theaters, and I love it to pieces.
Sure.
And people who don't like Ewoks are bad people.
It's true. I agree.
But Return of the King is one of the greatest things that ever happened to my face ever. And if you include the extended edition,
4 hours and 20 minutes of glorious wonderment.
Glorious wonderment.
Yes.
Return of the King, that's my answer, and I will stick to it forever.
My answer is also Return of the King, but I want to give this. Don't worry, I'm sure we'll disagree somewhere along the line.
We'll see.
But I want to give some love to Goldfinger because it is, I won't say universally considered the best, but it is probably the favorite of at least a significant percentage and maybe a majority of James Bond fans.
And I think that's legitimate. And I've heard that, and I just haven't seen it.
Sure.
So
You're
there's
in
a
for
couple
a treat.
on
You're
there.
in for a treat. You really are.
I look forward to it.
Yeah.
All right. What's next? Yeah. What's the next question? I wonder. Wait a minute. So the first question was the best sequel. The second question was the best threequel. I can't imagine what's coming next. People, can you see what's coming next? Foreshadowing.
What's the best zombie movie ever?
Oh, what?
No, that's not it. Okay. So the best fourth movie in a series is, because fourth quel doesn't really roll off the tongue.
I was going to say, I'm really glad Alec gave up on the whole quel thing.
Indeed. The best fourth movie in a series is Thunderball. B, Rocky IV. C, Star Trek IV The Voyage Home. D, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. E, The Hobbit. There and Back Again.
Okay, so I just want to say that it's amazing. If you look at the top 5 for the best sequel of all time, you have some of the greatest movies, period, ever.
Yes.
Like, I was annoyed that Lethal Weapon 2 wasn't on there, but then again,
but what do you bump off?
It doesn't belong on this list.
Right. Yes. Agreed.
So then you get to the threequels, and Godfather Part 3 shouldn't have been on there.
Right.
I think Lethal Weapon 3 was a better movie than Godfather Part 3, frankly. Or, by the way, Back to the Future 3 should have been on this list.
No kidding.
Alec O'Meara, I found the weak spot in your armor.
Indeed.
But then you get to the fourth movie, and my voice goes up really high. Then you get to the fourth movie. This is sad.
Yes.
Rocky IV, Rocky Balboa single-handedly beats the Soviet Union and saves America and ends the Cold War by punching someone in the face and then saying, if you can change, I can change. Everybody can change!
Oh.
I love my boy at home. He runs up a mountain with a beard. And if that, I have to say, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Because here's the deal. I don't know, it is between that and Rocky IV.
Sure.
I'm not picking Star Trek for the whales and Spock saying the F word. I'm not picking that. If you want to see it, it might be the most dated movie in the history of dated movies.
Okay.
It's so dated.
Okay. All right.
Captain Kirk comes back from the future with the most stylish 80s toupee ever, and it's just like, nope. But I do love the scene of Spock on the bus. It's pretty amazing. Again, unsurprisingly, I haven't seen Thunderball, and seeing The Hobbit on that list just made me sad.
It's true.
It's how it's aged in my heart. So, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, for possibly being the best in the series, gets my vote.
That's totally fair.
Take it away, Andy Ruff.
Can I say something about The Hobbit, though?
Yep.
And this is nothing but like fanboy hope.
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to checking out the extended edition of that. You know?
Oh, listen, Andy. Me too. In in the privacy of my own home when I'm not spending $15 for a ticket. Me too. Yo tambien. But
Right.
it's already, because here's the deal. The extended edition could not disappoint me more than what I've already been.
Sure.
So that's not true. It could get worse. But I'm gonna Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, Rocky 4.
Phil?
I'm going with Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, and here is why.
Okay.
Because even if Rocky 4 is a more special movie in my heart, when you look at it in the series, Rocky 4 is clearly the fourth best movie in the series. Whereas Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol is the best one in the series.
Indeed.
So that's my answer. That's my answer.
That's totally fair, and I'm going to have to start going first, maybe, because I totally agree with you. It comes down to Rocky 4.
Oh, it's boring.
It comes down to Rocky 4. I will say this about Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home. I'm not it's been a while since I've seen it. I believe that it's dated. I have no problem whatsoever believing that. But, frankly, most of the... nerds will be upset with me. Most of the Star Trek movies just aren't that good. They are fun to watch, but in terms of like, this is unequivocally a good movie and a well-made movie and all of that stuff, and it hews close to what, and I hate this, but I have to say it anyway. It hews close to what makes Star Trek Star Trek. Here is the list of movies that fit that bill. Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. I'm done.
Yeah,
that's it.
You're right. Yeah, that's the interesting. You say I said too many words at once, and they all came out at the same time. I didn't get that. Boop. It's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing that you say because the new Star Trek movies, they're good.
Yes,
they're really good.
Yes.
I don't think they're Star Trek movies yet.
I don't either, and I don't.
Maybe the third one. Maybe the third one will be a Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
Maybe they just made 2 prequels. And now they can finally make a Star Trek movie.
Well, they do go on their 5-year journey at the end, right? So, yay. Oh, spoiler. So
2 prequels finally made.
So, I mean, and I it's tough because it drives me nuts when people are like, it didn't feel like an Iron Man movie. It didn't feel like a Thor movie, blah, blah. But I mean, Star Trek, the entire purpose was... Frankly, Gene Roddenberry's purpose in making it was like, let's show people who use violence as a last resort. Let's deal with social issues. And, for example, Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan, not that much action in it, really.
Yeah, right.
And it's still riveting. So, my answer is...
And the last 2 are just action movies.
Yes, my answer is Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. I saw it in IMAX, and the scene where he is outside the building in Abu Dhabi is
right.
Is like it is. I don't get scared. I'm not scared of heights. I was terrified during that moment.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable.
I'm not scared of heights. Like, no, you know what? I'm scared of heights. Do you know why? Because if you fall from them, you die.
Sure.
So I am scared of heights. I'm not scared of heights like someone who I wouldn't classify myself as scared of heights. Like,
sure,
I'll climb up something for this. Like, I've been to the top of a cathedral, like in Italy. I've climbed up a ladder. But like, I'm scared of it because at any moment something could go wrong and I died just for a nice view. And I'm just, that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So
moving on. The best 5th movie in a series is A.
Oh my gosh.
You Only Live Twice. B. Rocky V.
Okay.
Or 5.
Okay.
C. Star Trek V. Or 5.
Okay.
The Final Frontier. D. Superman Returns. E. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I'm going first.
Please go first.
It's Harry Potter. And while I enjoyed the Order of the Phoenix, while I think it was well done, that's purely because the rest of these movies are... I mean, Superman 2 was just kind of disappointing and boring. It's not a terrible movie. The others are terrible. I'm done.
3, 4, and Superman Returns?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to see Superman Returns again.
Okay.
Because I didn't hate it. and
Sure.
then everybody else did, and I haven't seen it since. I saw it opening day, and I haven't seen it since.
Sure.
So I don't really. That's like 10 years ago.
It's true.
So I don't really have a memory. I just like to remind everybody that there was a point where there was going to be a Kevin Smith scripted, Tim Burton directed Superman starring Nicolas Cage. And the world is a poorer place for that having not happened. I'm not saying it would have been good. I'm just saying, oh my gosh.
Agreed.
I wonder how many voices Danny Elfman's score would have had that went, no. Can you imagine Nick Cage flying to that?
And somehow Johnny Depp is a stop motion character.
Right, seriously. All right, you are correct. The answer is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I don't even remember the difference between the movie and the book. I just know that that's the right answer.
Yeah, right. The best 7th movie in a series is A. Wes Craven's New Nightmare, B. Star Trek Generations,
Oh boy.
C. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, D. The Muppets, E. Iron Man 3.
Now, here's what I'll say before I answer, which is I'm going to wait till you answer first.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the first answer.
Sure.
But the choice of putting, actually, Andy, we got a problem.
What's that?
You skipped the best 6th movie. You did. You skipped the net.
Oh, yeah, I guess I... Oh, I did. Yes, sorry. Moving backwards. Sorry.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
all
you meant
right.
I skipped one. Okay,
No, you skipped a whole question, Andy.
indeed. The best 6th movie in a series is A. Rocky Balboa, B. Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, C. The Avengers, D. Star Wars Episode 3, Return of the Sith, E. Harry Potter and the
That's-
Half-Blood Prince.
First of all, that's just mean. That's just mean. Putting Star Wars 3 Revenge of the Sith on there is just mean.
It's fair. You're right.
And so, Andy, what do you think about this whole putting the Avengers on there as the best 6th in a series?
I don't dig it. I don't dig it.
Okay, tell me why.
Because when they made Iron Man, they weren't making the Avengers. Even if when they made Iron Man 2, the second of the Phase 1, like...
Can I say something about that, though?
Please do.
That's the case for a lot of sequels?
That's fine.
No, I mean, like,
No,
it wasn't
I-
a given when they made the first of one of these movies
I agree.
that they were going to make another one. Although, like, we both picked Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, but we know that wasn't, like, in store when they first made the first Mission Impossible.
Mm-hmm. Look, it just doesn't feel right to me. That's more the case, because you're right. I mean, no sequel is made if it isn't financially viable. I just
Okay. I just wanted to
doesn't-
know.
It just doesn't feel right to me.
That being said, it's your choice, right? Actually, I know what your choice is. Go ahead.
I will pick the Avengers because it's on the list.
Okay.
But I don't think... I mean, the Half-Blood Prince... The Harry Potter movies got better as they went on. I'm not one of these people that thinks Cuarón's Harry Potter 3 is the only good movie or even one of the better movies.
Oh my gosh, I'm so tired of hearing that.
Right? Oh my god, everything's a metaphor for the fact that he's growing older. Really? Because there aren't any metaphors in Harry Potter about growing up? Forget it. Anyway, I mean, I liked it. It's fine, but...
Oh, it's a good movie. It's fine, yeah.
Whatever. But they got better even as they sort of left behind... Let me put it this way. Harry Potter in the book does not defeat Voldemort by dueling with him. Right? It's
Right.
kind of the entire point of the whole series that
Right.
he does not duel with him. And so, spoiler for when we get to the question that involves Deathly Hallows Part 2. Anyway. But the Return of the Sith, no, goodbye. The Undiscovered Country, no, goodbye. So it comes down to the Avengers and Rocky Balboa. And clearly the Avengers is the better movie. It's just not even close.
I figured you were going to pick Rocky Balboa because I remember you loving it.
But I loved Rocky Balboa, and I will say this. Maybe I am parsing things a little too finely when I say, like, it's a bunch of different... It's not, like... Here's what really bugs me about the Avengers. The Avengers is not Iron Man 3. There is an Iron Man 3. It is not Thor 2. There is a Thor 2. It's a bunch of different things coming together, and yes, it's never been done before, and I get that, but there's also an Avengers 2. It's its own thing in addition to tying in, right?
It's tricky. Yep, I hear you. I hear you.
And Rocky Balboa is nothing if not the absolute, and when I say this, I don't mean this is the only way the story could continue, but it is the absolute proper response to the 5 movies that came before it.
So then I think that's your, no offense, you make your own decision, but I think that's your actual pick.
It is.
Okay.
Acknowledging that Avengers is a better movie, that's my pick.
Okay. By that same token, I choose Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
Nice.
Because I haven't seen Rocky Balboa.
Okay.
Because Sylvester Stallone's face scares me now. Because I would also pick the Avengers. I like what he's doing here. You know what? I'm going to say the Avengers. That's my answer. I am swayed almost entirely by what you've said about why you don't like him putting it on there. Mm-hmm. That being said, I like the chutzpah he has in putting it on there, and I am going to accept Avengers as a legitimate 6th movie, and I'm going to say that's my favorite of the list.
Fair enough. Totally fair.
But your answer is totally legit.
Sure.
Like your response, your argument against, perfectly legit.
If I were going to be swayed by your sort of soft defense of what he's doing, I still wouldn't take it because I'm still angry about Back to the Future Part 3. That's right.
That's a fair
I went
point.
there. So,
that's a fair point. Pettiness is important in life.
Indeed. So, moving on, the best 7th movie in a series is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. A. Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I gotta read everything. B. Star Trek Generations. C. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. D. The Muppets. E. Iron Man 3.
This one, it's funny because I had an easier time picking the Avengers for Part 6 than I did for seeing Iron Man 3 as the 7th in a series. Although to be fair, seeing Iron Man 3, but realistically, Iron Man 3 seems to me more of a piece of,
Yes.
It's literally that there's a number that says 3, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense in my head.
Right. Iron Man 3 is more the 7th movie than Avengers is the 6th.
It wouldn't actually change my answer. What's your answer? I'll tell you my answer in a minute. What's your answer?
I know what your answer is.
Yes, you do.
I'm pretty sure I know what your answer is. My answer is the Muppets. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's it. It's glorious.
Although I find it funny that we're calling this the 7th, but we haven't mentioned any of the other Muppet movies in the list. So somehow the Muppets Take Manhattan didn't get thrown on there, or A Muppet Christmas Carol,
right,
or The Great Muppet Caper.
Right.
That's fine. You know what? I don't care.
Yeah.
The Muppets is a glory to behold.
Yes.
It is one of my favorite movies of the last decade.
Here's the thing. It makes me sad that and how could he do this? But it makes me sad the first question of this Mini-Gauntlet wasn't what's the best movie of all time, and then put the Muppet movie on there. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be my pick, but as much as I enjoyed all of those other movies,
but gosh darn it, it deserves to be mentioned.
Right? As much as I enjoyed all of those other Muppet movies that you mentioned, this movie is the first one watching it as an adult that made me feel like I felt when I watched the Muppet movie as a kid.
Yes.
You know?
I do now, actually. I'm with you.
I know you do. Shall we move on?
I'm going to ask you an awesome question when this is all over.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Yes, let's move on.
The best 8th movie in a series is A. Live and Let Die. B. Friday the 13th Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. C. I swear to God, Alec. Ernest in the Army. D. Star Trek First Contact. E. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Okay. I mean, it just falls apart right here in this moment.
It's true.
This is when the whole thing falls apart.
And I want to be clear. I think you're saying this, Phil. I don't want to speak for you, but I think you're saying this. Alec, we're not talking about your Mini-Gauntlet. We're talking about Hollywood. It falls apart. It falls apart here.
I'd just like to point out that Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, is the only Friday the 13th movie I've ever seen. except for Freddy versus Jason,
Wow.
which might be the worst thing that ever happened to humanity.
It's certainly it's got to be in the conversation.
It's I told you, you don't forget my double feature that day, Spy Kids 3D and Freddy versus Jason. It was the worst double feature I've ever seen.
Just woof. Okay, what's your answer, big guy?
You know, at the end of that movie when Freddy and Jason end up in hell,
Yes.
you know, I'm right next. I'm like, you see me. They should have put a mirror in the screen. You saw yourself, and you're like, because I'm in hell with you both. Because this is god awful.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, the answer is clearly Harry Potter Part 7, Part 2.
Part 7B.
Part 7, Part 2. I'm going to call it Part 7, Part 2. But yes, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 is glorious. I mean, it's still, I don't know. I read all the books before I saw the movies, so I don't know how to appreciate them solely as movies. It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
And they at once exceeded my expectations and disappointed me.
Sure.
And I would love to see them do them again someday. And I will hate them probably when they do it.
It's true.
Because I am a massive contradiction. But I actually think Part 7, it was really well done. It was really well done.
Sure.
It was just felt, when you think about how bright and cheery the first one was and how dark and just gloomy the last one was, I love that. I mean, it's so gutsy. And I think they just went for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's the end. Oh, also, just coincidentally, all the other movies are terrible. Coincidentally.
Okay.
So, First Contact's not terrible, but it's not good. Okay, go ahead.
My answer is First Contact. Yeah. My answer is First Contact. And I can make a pretty solid case that it's the second best Star Trek movie ever.
Okay.
Which Phil.
It does have James Cromwell in it.
Indeed. And Alfred Woodard.
I mean,
and the line, the line must be drawn here. Which, I mean, come on, Phil. So Phil, Second Breakfast Nation, I submit to you that it is the second best Star Trek movie ever. You can decide for yourself what that means or how much it means. But Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, was it a satisfying ending for what it was? Yes. I agree. I don't disagree with anything you said, but it was the first time, that final fight between Harry and Voldemort was the first time that I was like, okay, now this change I have a problem with. Like, this change I have... Because I agree with you. Gutsy to make it dark. Gutsier to make the final fight just... Harry
what it actually was
killing
supposed
him,
to be.
Yes, Harry killing him through disarming him the way he did in the book. Like, that... Spoiler, I guess. Yeah. So and that was, and the whole thing, like, they're like shooting each other from point blank range as they fly around and stuff.
I know.
It didn't ruin the movie for me. It is an enjoyable movie, but also I don't see it like it is a movie long battle scene.
Yep.
You know? And that just, it got a little wearying. And I know that was actually,
I mean, it wasn't as long as the Man of Steel battle scene with them flying around, punching each other forever and ever.
Fair. All right. So
I hear you, and I gotta say, just for the record, First Contact was the last movie I saw at a drive-in.
Nice.
How cool is that?
That's really cool.
But and it wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't a bad movie. But
here's the deal. Just like Wrath of Khan, it brings back an iconic villain from the TV show. And,
well said.
You know, and so there is, and just like Wrath of Khan, I think it does a really good job of pleasing the fan base who knows it from the TV show and making the villain suitably daunting and terrifying, actually, in both cases, for people who are just coming in and seeing the movie.
Okay, that makes sense.
I had seen some Next Generation episodes. It wasn't a show I watched religiously by any means. I hadn't actually seen any Borg episodes when I saw First Contact.
Interesting.
And I really enjoyed it. I really did. So that's my answer. Moving on.
You might be right. You might have picked the right movie.
I may have.
Okay.
You know.
Well, I mean, in the next case, Go ahead and read the next thing.
The best 9th movie in a series is, oh, Alec. A, The Man with the Golden Gun.
Haven't
B,
seen it.
Friday the 13th, Part 9, The Final Friday. We already know
Haven't
that's a
seen
lie.
it.
C, Star Trek Insurrection. D, Predators.
Okay. Seeing as how the only one of these I've ever seen is Star Trek Insurrection, that becomes my choice very quickly.
That's the one with F. Murray Abraham and the face stretching thing, right?
Yep.
Oh, that was terrible. Oh,
And it had like dune buggies. There was like dune buggies with a gun on the top.
Right. Yes, terrible.
It wasn't good.
No, I will say
At
this:
all.
Donna Murphy, beautiful in that movie.
Okay.
Beautiful.
I don't even remember, but I believe you.
She was Doc Ock's wife in Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
Beautiful.
You got my vote.
Yes,
You got my vote. You know why she's beautiful in that? Because she's beautiful.
you are not wrong. But
That's
when
how they
they're
figure
making
that
her
out.
up to be to be a member of an immortal and eternally youthful species, well done, folks. My answer is Predators, which also is not a good movie, but at least it's fun to watch, and it's
Okay.
better than Star Trek Insurrection,
Okay.
which would be my number 2.
Okay.
You know,
I haven't seen Predators, and I will eventually.
Sure.
Or not. I don't know.
You know what's funny? Adrian
What?
Brody is an action star. I mean, let's be honest.
I can't think of someone who disappeared as quickly as Adrian Brody.
It's true.
He won an Academy Award for Best Actor. It's not like he won an award for Best Support. Like, you can make the argument that Cuba Gooding Jr., like, where did he go? Right after he won an Oscar, but it was Best Supporting Actor. This guy carried a whole movie by himself and was phenomenal at it, and then kissed Halle Berry on purpose without her foreknowledge. And guess what? And then guess what? Never worked. It's like she was like, "You'll never work in this town again," and then he didn't.
Right. It's like somebody gave him the wrong directions back to Hollywood, and then he's been lost in Arizona.
Seriously, I don't understand.
Right?
He's just waiting. Where's everybody making movies?
I mean, I was told there was a
get a
bus
phone.
here.
I should get a cell phone sometime. Okay. Here we go.
The best 10th movie in a series is A, The Spy Who Loved Me. B, Jason X. C, Star Trek Nemesis.
Okay. I mean, come on.
I mean, tell me, you know? Tell me.
Star Trek Nemesis. Sorry. I mean, I don't want it to be. It just is.
I mean,
I don't even remember what happens in Star Trek Nemesis.
it's the worst movie Tom Hardy's ever been in.
I've never seen The Spy Who Loved Me. Is that a Roger Moore one?
It is. It gets my vote because
It's the least putrid of the Roger Moore 007s.
Debatably, yes, but also because it has Jaws in it. Jaws is a recurring villain who becomes sort of comic relief, strangely, but a guy who can basically bite through everything because he has metal capped teeth. And also, Barbara Bach is even in the pantheon of Bond girls. Barbara Bach is just something else. She is just something else.
Oh wow!
So,
I have seen this movie.
Okay.
I changed my vote.
Okay.
Spy Who Loved Me is the answer. It's the only answer, and I apologize.
It's okay.
That's all.
The best 11th movie in a series is...
Oh boy.
A, Moonraker. B, Star Trek. Meaning Star Trek 2009, clearly.
I want to point out that you mentioned Barbara Bach, and she is and has been and is still married to Ringo Starr. That's awesome.
Well done, Ringo.
I mean, Star Trek.
There's no question. Moonraker is terrible. Star Trek is a fun movie to watch, and it is a good movie. It's just not so much a Star Trek movie. says the guy
Right.
who really isn't a Star Trek fan. But I still feel confident in that. Right? It just, yes.
That's the only answer.
Yes. Out of
Okay.
2. And the best 12th movie in a series.
Oh my gosh, does it ever stop?
Thankfully, after this, it does. The best 12th movie in a series is A, For Your Eyes Only, B, Star Trek Into Darkness.
Again, Star Trek Into Darkness. Come on, this is not a question anymore.
Yes,
We're done.
yes, agreed. It's For Your Eyes Only. Roger Moore, just no. And, I mean, and Julian Glover is not a good villain, and it has Topol in it. It has Tevye from the movie of Fiddler on the Roof, and
Yep.
I am going the other way.
I'd like to point out that we started with Godfather Part 2, and we ended
With For Your Eyes Only.
with For Your Eyes Only.
Alec, shame on you.
It's not Alec's fault. He didn't make the movies.
But he did make the Gauntlet, the Mini-Gauntlet.
Well said.
He could have stopped earlier, before
You could have stopped this.
before we just started torturing ourselves.
It's true.
And guys, that'll
true.
do it. That's it. Brisk, no fuss, no muss. We agreed a lot on that. You know why? Because we have excellent taste. You know what I mean? Just excellent taste.
We do, and we were right. And the only time that we were wrong was when we disagreed. And I'll just say we were both wrong. We should learn to come together more.
Indeed.
But we actually agreed significantly on a lot of these.
It's true.
I thought that was fun. I thought that was super fun.
Agreed. Totes. Thanks, Alec. Thank you.
Thanks, Alec. Well done.
If you would like to submit a gauntlet of your own, with or without a framing backstory, or just a mailbag question, please send all, or you know what, just tell us how awesome we are, because we never get tired of hearing that.
I don't really get tired of hearing that ever.
Ever, not once. Send any and all correspondence such as that to secondbreakfastpodcast@gmail.com. That's all spelled out as one word. No dots, no dashes, nothing.
No cuts, no butts, no coconuts.
Well played.
Thank you.
So that's what we got. That's the end of our week, big guy.
It's been fun. It's been real. It's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been real fun.
Yes.
And I'm going to miss you all until Tuesday.
Yeah, we hope you've enjoyed this as much as we have. You haven't.
Nope.
You just haven't. And as Phil says, we'll see you again next week. Have a great weekend, everybody. We are Second Breakfast Podcast. I'm Andy Roth, and that's Phil Duvall. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The most